Welcome to the CFG GameCast episode number 72, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers alike to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode on Saturdays and release it on podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and a whole lot more. So show us some love. Give us a follow, a like, a comment, what have you on any of our podcast services, or go to our main website, Con Freaks and Geeks, to get the full package. I am Mr. CFG Games himself, Davis Green, and with me today are my two awesome co-hosts. I got Lex in the second seat. What's going on, Lex?
Oh, so nothing. I basically ended up taking the week off because I was not feeling great, sadly. But it gave me time to think about, and I'm adopting a new schedule from here on out, as long as I can handle it. But yeah, I was not feeling great. We got some sort of like sinus infection thingy, I think is what happened, because low grade fevers, nothing crazy, but neither of us, he and I were both just like lackluster all week. And when I couldn't get up to like take a shower, I was like, I'm gonna stay in bed. Never mind. So, because there's like, I worked out too hard and I don't feel great the next day. And then there's, oh no, I don't feel good. But like, we couldn't really explain it because it was like, we have allergy symptoms. Okay, like our noses are dry. I have a bloody nose. And I feel like I have something stuck in the back. He was like, so do I. And like, I can't get it up. I was like, so me too. But
I really love how descriptive you are about this right now. But
I haven't talked to anyone in 4 days. You're welcome.
I don't know what's going on.
Because it was like, well, we don't have COVID. We know that. And, like we haven't done anything to really get sick, but like we got sick and whatevs. So we're just kind of like taking like a chill week. I also made the best homemade pizza last week, and all week he's not shut up about it. So I'm going to make that tomorrow. But yeah, no.
Pizza.
What were the ingredients?
So I made the pizza dough from scratch. That was first off.
Nice.
Takes 30 minutes. If you guys want the recipe, I'll give it to you. But Dust,
thank you.
Yeah, he was like freaking out when I made it but here's the thing: our favorite little pizza shop closed because of COVID, sadly. So, closed for good. They went back to California. Like their 2 locations, Pizza Rev is gone.
So Pizza Rev?
Pizza Rev's gone, bro.
Oh,
I know.
My goodness. Wow.
I'm so sad. So I was like, well, if I'm going to eat pizza, I'm going to make healthy pizza. So I smashed mine out to be like a Roman crust, so like thin. But then Dust made his more of like just a regular, like, with an actual crust and everything. I took a whole clove of garlic and I chopped like 2 up for him. And then I roasted a bunch just whole for me. Didn't even smash them in olive oil. I did that on top of the pizza. Of course, we did like a spicy marinara as the base. I did the garlic chunks on mine, plus I did red onions and mushrooms. I sauteed those, put those on my pizza, mozzarella, and then we took globs of ricotta cheese and put it all over, and then whatever seasonings I wanted. He did more of like a pepperoni pizza style, but with the ricotta too. Oh, so good.
No, man, that sounds
good.
Yeah, but mine was mostly veggies. Oh, it was so good. It took me it took me less than an hour to make the whole thing.
You should have seen the pizza I made. Is the pizza I made? If you, I used my cell phone. I called Papa John's.
I thought you were going to say you did the little Lunchables.
Yeah, I said pepperoni, Canadian bacon, banana peppers, and they were there. So yeah,
Canadian bacon.
Oh, I love Canadian bacon. It's such a good one.
Sausage, but yeah, it gave me the week to think about like what I want to do, and I really like Bless Unleashed, and so I'm gonna do 10-hour days Monday through Thursday. Yeah, I think
you make it sound like you're making a sacrifice. I was thinking like, she's gonna take a day off, but like you're doing 10-hour days.
I'm gonna kick it up a notch.
It was either add Friday and Sunday into the mix and not have a day off. Except Saturday, kinda, but we still do podcasts. I was like, no. I'll do from 2 to 12 Monday through Thursday, and like do 2 to 6 as Bless Unleash, and then get into spooky games after. I think I can handle that.
Well, I guess it's no until you try.
Right. But I like it.
there.
I want to get in it. So,
I agree. That game it's especially with having friends that are playing it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the way I want to play a game like that.
I want to do raids and stuff, and I'm watching Karma do raids. I'm like, my little character's stinky.
Bring
I
me.
gotta get there. I want to. No.
Smitty got when Smitty was playing, because I saw Smitty play a little bit of it, and I was like, my God, like people were really into that. I remember, like 60 people at one point in time looking into that at one point in time. Which is I was like, what is going on?
Somebody, Karma rated me. That's what it was. Karma rated me. Yes,
okay.
Yeah, because I think she was playing beforehand. Yeah, because she just applied for partner app actually.
She did,
which is odd. Yeah, that would be huge. It's so crazy because like a year ago, wait,
Doss
who?
did too. Double Agent Smith.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Every time you say DOS, I always forget who it is. I'm like, who?
I'm telling you, dude. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be crazy. But anyways, let's go on to it. We got the 5-star general of the itty bitty Smitty committee. I got Smitty on the third seat. What's going on, my dude?
Chilling, man. I've kind of like everybody else. It's been a very just kind of lackadaisical week. You know what I mean? Like myself personally, I'm just gonna take some time. I'm gonna take the rest of November off from streaming on my channel. I'll still be here, obviously, for the GameCast. But I just need it. You know what I mean? Like I think I'm at a point where everything's getting to me. I need to reevaluate, reconfigure, you know what I mean, both myself physically, mentally, and it's also a good time. There's a lot of stuff and things that I have that I've been wanting to do for stream. So, I kind of want to make a shift and, like kind of like Lex is saying too, kind of get a little more focused, not be so out there, really get some things in that I think people would enjoy. I just kind of, I feel like I've just been kind of going through the motion. We all kind of have, I think this stuff is just really I'm really starting to feel, just what it's been being 9 months in, doing the same thing, barely sleeping, eating like crap, all that stuff. So I'm going to take some time and just enjoy, get some stuff done around the house, get some stuff, you know what I mean, done and whatnot. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the break and to take a little time and then come back in December and hit it hard.
He needs to
awesome.
drink his fiber in the morning.
Wait, I know. No, I need my fiber. I need to stretch. I need to, you know what I mean? Like there's, yeah,
Which,
exactly.
by the way, guys, since we're, it's actually crazy to think that we're actually coming at the end of the year, but like, just to let y'all know,
oh my God.
we got the, cause like we usually kind of break for, before Christmas break, for the CFG itself, but keep in mind that y'all should keep, it's game of the year. You gotta figure out y'all's game of the years of
true
of 2020. So just keep that in mind. So we have that discussion going down, but that's cool. I always love that. I always love doing that one. That's always a good.
We already did it.
No, we did best like
of the decade.
Yeah,
that's what we did. Yeah.
Yep. So we did.
And there's your answer.
You already know then.
You already know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be so that's always fun to do because like always have the conversation. You remember my rules about it too. I remember like we had that argument. Was it Monster Hunter World? I think it was Monster Hunter we had with
no. I think I tried saying Destiny 2.
No, I don't think it was Destiny 2.
I think Destiny 2 is what sparked the conversation. And then he was like, well, I know Lex is going to have Monster Hunter World on her list, so then we can't. And then blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no. This is what it was. Because Monster Hunter World, at the time when we did it, had released Iceborne. So you were going to say Iceborne. And then I was like, no, because technically it's just an expansion to Monster Hunter World. And and that came out, Monster Hunter World came out a year before that. So that doesn't really count. That's kind of like saying, you're going to choose World of Warcraft because this expansion was awesome. It's like, no, this World of Warcraft came out in 2002.
Well, you were also asking for our top 3. So I think,
yeah.
It's a little, the game of the year. So, okay.
Well, we could have just one game of the year this year. Would that make it easier? Yeah. I think it'll be like
absolutely.
What's the answer for you? You don't have to wait or be suspenseful. I want to know. I'm actually interested.
I want to know. Let's get it out right now. New topic today.
Second one. It came out. I played it. Oh God, what was it called?
Risk of Rain 2?
No.
Oh no, that came out.
No,
That's
no,
Second
no, no,
one.
no, no. We all played it. We all played
Monster
it.
Palm. Monster
No!
Palm.
Oh,
Oh.
Earlier in the year.
Last of Us. Last of
Thank you.
Us.
Yeah, Last of Us 2.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
That's my
All
gameplay.
right,
Yeah.
so there you go. So
I
all
There it
right,
is.
okay, all
There
right.
it is.
As for me, dude, like I've been it was actually I had a goal to finish Yakuza 0, which I am glad to say that I finally did on Tuesday.
Nice.
So Yakuza 0 is now complete. So that only took me the low amount of time of 120 hours to beat. Yeah, I had no idea it took me that long, and then I was
Jeez.
like, "Holy crap!" It's like, okay. So then I was like, "Okay, there's no way in hell I'm going to start a new Yakuza. I need to take a break off Yakuza." It was 2 days. No, sorry, Yakuza Kiwami. So I did. I'm starting to play Kiwami. I'm not streaming. I told you I'm not going to do Kiwami on stream on this one because of crazy Zero was. So I'm just doing that casually on my casual time. Yeah, so I've been doing that. And that basically pretty much took a break. I think everyone was pretty much kind of like, you know what, we've seen enough Twitch for this week. I think for the most
I mean, we
part.
went hard in the paint on Saturday too.
We really did go hard in the paint on Saturday. Which, by the way, on that, yeah. So yeah, after the stream of Extra Life, which by the way, we raised almost $4,000. We had $3,900, which is freaking awesome. It beats our record last year, and that definitely it was definitely and people definitely showed up for that. So that's really awesome. So thank you for everyone who participated in that, and we can't wait to do it again. But yeah, so like all that stuff was happening, and I was like, okay, cool. So I just said the only reason why I streamed this week was I needed to finish Yakuza, and then I decided, you know what, I need to reset my system setup to get ready for the PS5 release. So I readjusted my whole room so I could be able to stream my PS5 and stuff like that, because what I wanted was I needed an HDMI switch box. So I added a new HDMI switch box so I can actually do 4K and stuff and all that cool jazz and everything. And then I needed to have that connected to a computer that was 15 feet away from where all that was happening for it to work. So it took me when I finally got my PS5 on Friday, it took me 4 hours to mess around with. And I was definitely glad that it worked, but it worked. So I tried out Spider-Man today, the new Spider-Man today on PS5. Yeah.
Spider-Man.
And it was great. So definitely great. So, but anyways, I'm not going to be talking about Spider-Man all by myself. I know y'all don't want to listen to, want me to ruin it, which I wouldn't ruin it for everyone here. Let's get down to the nice nitty gritty. So each of us picks a news topic of discussion within video games from the previous week. The topic would or could be about a specific game or something that happened in the gaming industry itself as a whole. And we don't want to talk about it amongst ourselves. We want you, the people who are checking us out on Twitch, to be a part of the conversation. So if there's something that you found interesting or something that you wanted to chime in on what we're talking about, by all means, type it inside the chat, inside Twitch, inside our chat on CFG GameCast, and we will add you to the conversation. So let's get down to it. Smitty, what are you bringing to the table? Smitty, I think it's like the third week in a row that you're number one. The first topic. I just realized. It's very funny. I mean, who's counting?
yeah, exactly. I did not know that. I gotta say, I love that number one. The alert just went off, and I love it. So obviously, this was a big week. We had our launch day of the next generations. Both Xbox and PlayStation came out. I did not get Xbox Series X. However, I did get a PlayStation 5, and I'd like to go over kind of my experience as far as what I experienced, what my day was like. So we know I was smart this time, right? I didn't take Thursday off. I took Friday off, and I did get two.
Smart.
I did get two.
I
was thinking, this guy over here. So
I needed it though.
He's on. Me too. Me too.
I run a website that does video game reviews. I mean, I'm sorry. All right.
No, that is true. That is true. So that morning, you know what I mean? I get my stuff. I'm ready. I go and look at the shipment stuff because one of them I hadn't heard anything from Best Buy, and then Walmart I had heard nothing from Walmart, or Walmart said it was coming on time. That day, that morning, I get a thing from them saying that my package is going to be late. And I'm just like, no freaking way, dude. Best Buy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, you know, what's going on with them? And then Walmart is just like, sorry, you know, it's going to be late. I was super, super dejected. Oh, no, that happened the night before. I was pretty dejected. I think I posted on Twitter about it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that next day, it said, your package has been shipped. It's on the way. It'll arrive today. And I'm like, nani? What? And I'm like, okay, yeah. Best Buy at this point had already said, your package isn't coming until Friday. So I already knew that. So I thought I wasn't going to get it at all. And then, you know, lo and behold, I get the PlayStation 5. I get it during the day. Fantastic. Set it up and whatnot. And I kind of want to just go over a little bit of some of the things. Obviously, for me, this thing is thick. It is big. It is freaking huge, man. It is way bigger. It is a very thick boy. And I got the disc version, mind you. So there's got a little extra girth to it. But it's solid. It is a MIDI console. It's got the USB-C that we talked about and everything. It took me a little bit to get the stand put on. I didn't realize at first that there was instructions on how to get the stand on.
Always instructions.
I'm a man. I gotta tackle it. I can figure this out. And I was like, I cannot figure this out. Where the hell are the instructions?
Oh, that's hilarious. That's amazing. No. That's amazing.
So I found them without breaking anything. So lucky. Yo, I gotta say, this controller though, man, and I was talking about this a little bit before. The controller is so freaking, I really enjoy it. It kind of feels weird. My hands, it still feels like a foreign object a little bit, but gosh, damn, when they were talking about this haptic responses, we were laughing about that. I feel
you know what that meant. Yeah.
I feel
now you understand
now. I understand. I got Call of Duty Black or Cold War. And I mean, it is like you feel the tension, different guns, and you know, pulling it up to look and then fire and stuff like that. Like, it's really cool. The Astro Playroom thing that we talked about. Wow, what a starting out game to really give you a great tutorial for what the controller can do, what the system can do. I was playing it with Lizard Elsa. We had an absolute blast. You know what I mean? Just getting the different feelings, and it's a great tutorial game. You get the nostalgia of these collectibles of all, you know, throughout the PlayStation generation. You collect these or generations. You collect these collectibles and stuff like that, which is really cool. It's got
you know what's actually kind of funny to me though. I'm sorry to cut you off there.
No, go ahead.
Like, I will say this though about the haptic. I mean, like, if the haptic controller in itself is a technology that like is worth it is just the next level. Like, I mean, because we weren't expecting like a giant step up between like, you know, the Series X and the PlayStation 5. All we knew was SSD speeds were going to be faster. Like load times were going to be a lot faster, and that was really about it. We weren't, and also, you know, ray tracing, all these extra abilities and stuff like that. The quote unquote 120 hertz gameplay at 4K, which I was like, I'll see it till I believe it.
I don't see any flip flops in the box.
Yeah, so right. The teraflops they totally neglected it, so that's what they did. But the one thing I will say this though, real quick though, the one thing I will say this, the haptic controller in itself is equivalent for the history of what PlayStation has done in its time is probably just as significant as when the first analog controller came out, because that controller is a game changer, in my opinion, a complete game changer of how you play games. And that's what I was not like. I didn't put any expectations on the controller at all because I didn't know what to expect out of it. But now, since I messed with it, especially when you played Astro's Playroom, and then like you were saying in a Call of Duty, it's a new level of what gaming could be like in the long run. So that was it. But yeah, so like I'm sorry.
I did have a question. On the back of the controller, is it all of the little PlayStation, like the X, the triangle, the circle on the back of is that the grip?
Yes,
Look
actually,
at,
yes.
is it? Grab it.
Smitty,
Do you have the controller
I'm
right
gonna
there?
grab it.
Grab it. Grab
yeah.
it.
So like
I want to see this.
the you can't see it, unfortunately. It's so small.
Is
You have
it really?
it's microscopic. It's really small. But like, yeah, they put the X's, O's, squares, and stuff like that, the crosses and stuff,
As like the grip
all as a
on the
grip. So
back.
like, so you feel it looks like little bumps, but really it's the shapes of the four buttons on the iconic four buttons of the PlayStation.
Because
But you
Gus was
won't be,
showing me in a catalog. I
yeah,
was like, that can't come with
yeah.
what you. He was
Oh,
like, no, it does. I'm like, no way. I want to
yeah.
see Smitty's real quick. Sorry,
You
guys.
can't.
I was just
Yeah.
curious about that because they've done a lot of attention to detail, and I appreciate that. Like, if I'm going to pay that much money for a console, like the attention to detail better be there. Because not only does I want my games to look pretty, but at the same time, like you're paying for something and you should get the equivalent of that, whether it's like the tiny,
Yeah.
just the tiny details of that. So
It's
we probably
very
can't see
small.
it, but are you able to see it, Smitty?
Can you not? Oh, you said what?
No, you can't see it. You won't be able to see it.
Sorry.
They're really tiny. It's really, really tiny. But like,
if you look at it with a light, it should be like the X, the square, the triangle, and the O as what's like the texture of the material.
Oh
Does
my
that make
god!
sense?
Really?
yeah.
I mean, you might have to shine a light on it so you're able to see
Worry
it.
about that later, because like I said, you won't be able to see it.
Yeah,
You really won't be
I'll
able
take.
to see
I did
it.
not know that was even a
Yeah,
thing.
it's supposed to be the texture of
Yeah.
it. I thought maybe you'd be able to. I'm okay.
It's
Sorry.
tiny
Yeah.
if it is, because I have to.
Yeah, it's
like I
super
couldn't
tiny.
like. It just looks like some sort of grip.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take a closer look at that for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, like, what were you saying, Smitty? You can talk more about your experience with it.
Yeah, so we did that. That stuff was all good. We got it on, beautiful, gorgeous. This feels great. I start porting. I get everything set up. I start porting over. This is where I run into my first issue. And I was explaining, I have a ton of save data and stuff like that. I didn't realize that it was going to port over everything from my PlayStation. So like literally, I ran out of memory to be able to even install games out the gate. So I will tell you, out the gate, you need an external drive, or don't plan on having very many games on your system. Or, I mean, obviously there's a lot of save data that I can go through and not port over and stuff like that.
Right.
Which is what I ended up doing, was I ended up canceling it because it had already allocated that data. And I just couldn't. I was like, this is not going to work out for me.
Well, the save data, like I said, your save data for your saved games and stuff should automatically go to the cloud. That's why when you were saying that, I was like, why are you downloading it on your system? That's what, like, all my saved data is on the cloud. I don't.
And it is,
I refuse. I refuse to put that. And that's, as for the games itself, I decided, like, I have an external connected to the PS4, because that's the big downside about this system, is that they don't give you enough space for it. No. It's like it says it's an 860 something gigabyte SSD built in, but out of the 800, you're only 600 gigs is really allocated. So
right.
So like really like a little bit over 100 something gigs, what the initial PlayStation 4 came out with. So that needs to change big time. But that was the downside of it.
I kind of anticipated that we already knew that, I mean, especially with games getting bigger and bigger, we knew that basically you're going to need an external to be able to really, have a beefy library on there. And really, to be honest, you really don't need it if you're just, deleting games as you beat them and then bringing in new ones. Yep. But I am totally, you guys have seen my games in my Steam library. Like, I am a hoarder to the max, and I have to have all my things there just in case, off the off chance that I want to play a random game 2.0. That never happens, by the way.
We played your game of Sam and Max that you stopped playing in the late 90s. Decided to come back to it. Yeah,
exactly. One of the other big things to me, this is something that I said I had gotten Cold War. I have Cold War. I bought it that night digitally on the PlayStation 5. Peep this. I was running through the campaign, went to play it the next day, and I'm like, it says I have 0% start a new game. Excuse me? Excuse me? Well, no.
Oh,
I was up
no.
playing this for like 5-6 hours. Son, I don't think so.
Right.
Turns out that when it downloaded and installed, there's 2 different versions of the game. There's a PS4 version and a PS5 version. Apparently, for some reason, it defaulted to starting on the PS4 version for the campaign, and then multiplayer is on the PS5. And I can't port over that
Shut the
save
front
data
door.
into the PS5 version of it. So I had to experience that, I guess, and I'm guessing that's more of a graphics thing and whatnot. But for the campaign, so that was super annoying that there's an option to play it either PS4 or PS5. It's like, I'm on a PS5. Why do you not default to the PS5 version? Why would I want to play? Why?
It doesn't make sense. Who cares? Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I made this analogy earlier, but it's just like it doesn't make any sense why they give you that choice, because it's just like when you buy a Blu-ray, when you buy a movie, when you say,
he's not finishing those games like ever. He's not.
He's never finishing those games like ever.
Right.
Yeah. Game night, yeah, we all know Smitty's habits of finishing these games. We know that's never gonna happen.
I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to be better.
I couldn't download my save data.
Smitty's gonna post something where I finally did it, guys.
Come out.
I finally did it, guys. I beat Mario 64. It's like that game came out the 90s. It's like, yeah, I finally got to it.
I was gonna do it, and I did it.
My biggest issue was like it's just like DVD, Blu-ray or Blu-ray DVD movies. It's like, when you buy a movie, or when we used to buy movies, I guess you'd say, physical movies. I'm talking about physical movies and stuff. But like when we used to buy those kind of movies, they always gave you the Blu-ray DVD combo. And you're wondering, why do I need to buy the DVD of the same movie when I want to get it on Blu-ray? It's like they don't give you the choice. They give you the choice for the two. One worse version than the original one. It's like, we don't want the DVD version. I want the Blu-ray. It's like, it's the same thing for this. It's like, why do they give us the option to play a game that we know we're going to get on the most up-to-date system, and then put it, because that's the exact same thing I came across. I'm so glad I was able to see when I was installing Spider-Man on my system, and I was like, oh, this says PS4 Spider-Man Miles Morales. Why is it asking me to install this? So I looked at it and I'm like, wait, there's 2 different versions, a PS4 and a PS5. What the hell? What do you want me to do? Like, so does that necessarily mean that if you by the chance decide if your PS5 breaks down, you can play the 5 disc in the PlayStation and it'll treat it like a 4? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
like, what the hell?
It really doesn't make any sense, and it's super confusing because there's that option. You know what I mean? I understand it. Maybe if it's something, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It is the same thing with Spider-Man for me.
Oh no, Ravage.
Well.
Just to kind of prove the point. So what you're saying was that the difference in graphics wasn't noticeable enough. What do you think, Smitty?
I don't know, because I didn't go back to the campaign. Sorry. Yeah. So, it was really confusing though, how even with the upgrades from games that you have to, upgrading it to a PS5, it basically creates 2 separate ones. So you have a PS4 version and a PS5 version. And it's a little confusing to have that. And I don't know why they're doing that. It almost seems like and I don't know if they just write over the PS4 data, or if they then hold on to both the PS4 data, and now you're doubling the size of everything. You know what I mean? Because you're hanging on to 2 different versions. I need to do some more investigating into that. But I gotta say, man, the load times are clean. That controller, and to me, gosh, man, it is such a game changer. You're 100% correct. That is, I can't wait to experience all these different games that come out, and what they're able to do with this controller. How I feel personally, don't feel out of luck if you do not get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. The stuff is going to be here, guys. You know what I mean? Again, like any console launch, there's not a lot of great stuff out there. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff that got ported over. We're not going to really start seeing the full, its true power. Yeah, until sometime next year. Right. They're working on that stuff, and they've been working on that stuff. But it's exciting, dude. It's always been exciting.
Ravage did say, Ravage asked earlier, so what you were saying was that the difference in graphics wasn't noticeable enough.
Right. And I did not try the PS5 version of the campaign, but I didn't notice. I mean, I noticed artifacting in the hair during the campaign, but I need to go back then and at least start it up to see if I see that in the PS5 version, because I saw that and I was like, I am not impressed. I did not realize that. Straight up, I was like, whoa. I was like, I expected more, especially, I mean, that's a good indicator is hair in video games. You know what I mean? That is something very difficult to get right, I feel. Yeah, exactly. So
I kind of beg to differ on that because like I did actually seen two different versions of the same game. Like I was playing because I picked up Spider-Man and Devil May Cry 5. So there is a night and day difference. Yeah, there's this night and day difference between Spider-Man and Devil May Cry. Well, first off, Spider-Man is completely flawless on load times. Like I was playing that today for like 3 hours, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And then there was no load time at all. It just full transitions from one zone to other zones. Like, you know, if you ever played the original Spider-Man, you jumped inside the thing. There was a loading time to get inside the building and stuff like that. There was none of that. Like you got in, you got out, and then it's like completely. So I was like, holy crap. But the thing that makes it different graphically is the ray tracing and the ray tracing and stuff that they include to that. So like now, to have ray tracing, they didn't tell you this because like they tell you this at the beginning, before you play the game. If you want ray tracing on, you got to do it at 4, and you want really good like a really good 4K, like 4K to have ray tracing. You have to play it in 30 frame FPS. You can do it in 60, but it would disable ray tracing itself. So you can't
really.
Yeah, you can't. Well, just for specifically for Spider-Man. I don't know what it's going to be for Call of Duty and whatnot. Call of Duty, they have to.
Because I have things cranked. I have it cranked. Again, this is the thing too. Is like it's so new. Though. We haven't. That is true. That is true. But that's something. I mean, as just like kind of and I like to think that I'm fairly knowledgeable in that area too. Like I still haven't, and I haven't really sat down to just look at the stuff and go through the settings. Mm-hmm. But there wasn't any kind of like I didn't feel like I was like I don't know if I'm seeing it differently. And it's like I played a little bit of Overwatch last night, and like those colors were literally punching me in the eyeballs. They were so damn vibrant.
It was HDR,
I was like, I was like, I can see I was like, I see the difference in you.
Yep.
You know, so it's like I really, so it's like I need to go back and really take a look. I haven't popped on Spider-Man yet, but I'm gonna start with the original and then go to Morales. But I'm excited. I'm excited for it, dude.
You know, the big difference I'm going to try is like once the patch for Days Gone comes out, I'm going to try Days Gone because I have the game. I've had it on the
downloaded it.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I wanted to see, because they're going to do a 4K patch for it. And I'm wanting to see how that's going to run. Because like if it runs very well, then that's a good testament of how good it's going to be. But like but overall, I don't know, dude. Like it's really weird. No, I agree with you. Don't have FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's not worth it. It's going to be here. There's no games that's 100% worth saying, oh, I can't believe I had to go on eBay and buy this for $1,000 and stuff like that.
Right.
Nothing's out there that exists for this for both consoles on it. So
I'm
just curious as to why, if you're on the PlayStation 5, right? And you're in the PlayStation, you're in the store. Like if they're having an issue with detecting whether it's a PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5, they should just make, when you're on the PlayStation 5, a PlayStation 5 store, right? Like that's what's hindering in my brain. Like why would you want the 4 when you can get the 5 for your PlayStation 5, right? Am I wrong there?
If you have the disc version, it's a moot point. I mean, like I'm sure. The digital version is, on the other hand, it's a different story because they do separate it PS4 and PS5 if you got the digital version of it.
Yeah, like if you're putting in the disc
from a
he's saying if you're putting in the disc from a PlayStation 4, that's fine. I understand what you're saying. However, he's playing these games on PlayStation 5 and they're PlayStation 5 games that he's wanting to download.
No, that's my point. It's like
it's weird. I just don't get why that's like a thing. And
well, no, I'm saying that like he got a PlayStation. Okay, I'm saying that like the PlayStation 5 disc that he bought, he was going under the assumption, okay, this is meant for specifically for the PlayStation 5. What caught us off guard was that it gave you the option to play a PlayStation 5 game on PlayStation 4. Of PlayStation 4, which is weird. It's like you would think that it would be.
But I didn't.
He didn't say that.
No, that mine was a digital download. I
yours was
downloaded it.
And
Yes,
yeah,
I got
okay.
Call of Duty. Yeah, the Spider-Man was the physical.
Yeah, that's weird.
The digital, I got a digital download of Call of Duty. Why is there even an option
and it was
for me to
PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
weird.
I was like, why is that
Yeah.
option even a thing? I bought it for PlayStation 5 on PlayStation 5. Like, what are you talking about?
That's odd. I don't know what.
I don't own this game for the PlayStation 4.
Right.
Or
Oh,
do
that's
I? I don't know.
happen?
Maybe, I guess I do.
Yeah. Placement. No, I'm definitely happy with the PS5, and I know a lot of people like a lot of posts on it saying like, "Oh, you should never buy first consoles and stuff." I'm like, okay, guys, we already know the risk. The only reason why we can is because we can afford it. And we know,
Right.
and the whole deal's like that. So I mean, like, it's not like we have the level of expectations of like saying we're going to keep this forever, but still, it's like we know we're talking. We know what we're wanting, and we're going to get it.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
And I like to get hyped up on
Yeah.
stuff like this too, man. Especially with the way the year is, man. There's not, you know what I mean. There's just it's always fun or nice to be able to get excited about something, and you know what I mean. Something that's been a part of my life personally since I was a kid. You know what I mean? To be able to get another iteration of this system, to be able to get those old feelings, and you know, not only that, but I got to experience it with my daughter. You know, we unboxed it and set it up together, and this and that. You know, now I get to share in that with her. As well. It's for me, it's just like, I know there's going to be problems. That was something I was going to say. I have seen some reports like on YouTube and stuff like that, where some people's PlayStations aren't turning on, or they're having these weird memory issues with the Spider-Man disc in. I have not been putting it into rest mode.
Well, it wasn't
with
Miles
the disc
Morales.
in.
It was the digital version, the remaster.
Is that?
Not
Okay,
Miles Morales,
okay.
But yeah, but
I
still,
wasn't sure, but I was like, oh, hell no. I ain't doing that again. That's what happened on PS4. I had a disc error on my PS4. It wouldn't take disc. I ended up having to send it back in, lost it for like 2 weeks.
Oh,
I was
that sucks.
super.
But yeah, what Smitty tells is like, was saying you have the option to play PlayStation 4 graphics on lower spec TVs. Yeah, 120 frames is a lot for a TV, which is true. But like, you know, with the 120 frames, the thing that they're advertising, it has to be a perfect list of stuff that you would need. You would need to have a TV that could first support 120 frames. 120 V, which is usually anything that uses HDMI 2.1. You would need to make sure the cables connection is perfect for it. And even at 120 frames, it's going to be a give or take situation. Like you can't go at max settings to do ray tracing at 120 itself. So it's like it's there, but it's not like I don't think it's ideal. It's like 60. I'm just satisfied with if it hits 60 personally. So
And I think his point of like, well, if you get a PlayStation 4 game for your PlayStation 5 is if you have a lower graphics TV. Okay, I get that. But if you're paying the same price, right?
Yeah.
For a PlayStation 5 game and the option of the lower specs for 4 or 5, your TV shouldn't have an issue playing it. You're always able to edit down. And like you said, it asked you, you know, the 30 to 60, that if you want the ray tracing, it's going to be at 30. Your TV is not going to have, like, honestly, that much of an issue. Like, that was always a thing when I worked at Circuit. Like, when we were getting bigger and bigger into the TVs and, like, the DVD Blu-ray section, gaming and TV compatibility wasn't quite there. And so because of that, there's always a little bit of wiggle room in your TVs. Like, even my 4K may not look as good if Smitty's is a 4K from this year. Mine may not look as good as his, and that's okay. I mean, it's just honestly, it's all about perspective. If you got your brand new shiny toy, don't you want the brand new shiny game with it too, my friend? I mean, that's just
it
for
doesn't
me,
like yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But yeah, that's pretty good. All right, Lex, what are you bringing to the table?
I got a lot. So I sent you a lot of links, Smitty. I'm sorry. Because here's the thing. We have a friend, and I don't know if I'm allowed to necessarily say his name, but he's a streamer, a friend of ours. He does real great for himself, and he plays a lot of Call of Duty. Now, he has played so many. The only reason I ever play Call of Duty, honestly, is to play games with him. So this friend, a couple weeks ago, went, "Holy crap, my game got hacked," and we were all kind of like, "What do you mean?" So let me break it down. Blizzard and Activision. So you go through your Blizzard to get to your Activision, right? To play Modern Warfare. Now, my friend has pretty much everything but Damascus. I think all he had to do was like his rocket launchers and that was it. That's how many hours he plays this game. So Blizzard has 2 FA, but Activision does not up until the last 24 hours if I am not mistaken. But what we've learned through this whole endeavor is that Activision support sucks. So, how did his game get hacked? Well, let me tell you. Someone sold his account, is what it looks like. We're guessing because the person that's playing on his account hasn't really changed anything. Which, if you're stealing accounts, that's the first thing you do is lock the other person out, right? They didn't. So they're still playing. I can see his account playing through my account because we are still friends. He hasn't unfriended anybody as of yet. What happens? You can unlink your account, right? So his Twitch, all of that is linked in his Activision. He unlinked his account and put his in. Now, you can only unlink and relink once a year. Yeah. You heard that right. A year. So now, what do? Someone steals your account. Oh my God. Well, here's what Blizzard or Activision wants you to do, because this isn't really a Blizzard issue side. This is more Activision.
Technically, it is. They're the same
Yeah,
company.
now it is. Yeah, but Blizzard's 2FA wasn't the reason that he got hacked, essentially, because Activision didn't have 2FA. So he was left dinged on that end. So he can still see this person's information and all of that. So he, of course, thankfully has hours and hours and hours of evidence showing that he has all these weapons because he put in all that time. And that's what was so frustrating. He's like, if I can't get my account back and all my weapons back, I don't want to play it anymore. And I don't blame him. You put in all of that grinding to get to a certain point. If you're not going to get that back, what's even the point? So they're making him create a new account, then email them and say, okay, so I had, my account hacked. Here's the information. Here's the person that hacked my account. Here's the email. Here's everything, right? And they'll get to you in 7 to 10 business days. He hasn't heard a reply yet. But now Activision put in 2FA, so he's essentially locked the other person out of the account, but neither of them can play because he can't unlink the other person's account still. He still needs Activision support to reach out to him and be like,
that's
oh,
crazy.
Whoops. Right. So it's as simple as that, but I've gone through the Reddit threads and people just don't get their accounts back because they don't have evidence showing that they have all these hours of progression. And even a YouTuber who I'm assuming isn't just a small YouTuber, I would say 1 million around subs. It took 2 months for him to get his account back. So there's no support. We look at these companies, at least for me, and I would assume that if something were to happen, right, I would easily be able to reach out to support and be like, hey, dudes, somebody messed up and they hacked my account, or someone sold my account, they unlinked me, link me back in, right? No, it's been a couple weeks at this point. I spoke to him today and he was like, I still haven't heard anything, but I'm able to play the new Call of Duty on my floater account, essentially, that they made him create. And so he's like, I'm going to reach out to them again on Monday because I've still have not heard anything. I told everyone, I was like, I'm retweeting his tweet. If you guys can go ahead and retweet as well, through the grapevine, maybe we can get their attention. But I was going through and there's hundreds of people like, hey, what about me? And there's no support system. Great. Now you put in the 2FA. Actually help your customers at this point. It's so infuriating. Like the steps they want you to light a fire around the hoop and then jump through it multiple times and not get burned, essentially. And
Here's
it's
what
like,
doesn't
wait a
make sense to
second.
me. Yeah, here's
Yeah.
what doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I know that it's Activision. Activision didn't protect with 2FA. Which, first of all, I'm surprised in this day and age that they don't even give you they didn't have the option to 2FA something like that. Because like, let alone, I mean, God knows how long has it been with Blizzard been doing 2FA. Like it's been
Forever?
years. They've done it ever since like World of Warcraft and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, that's on them. But first, but like to say that they that Activision, it's like the parent company of Blizzard. Activision is the parent company of Blizzard, but Blizzard's the one that actually has the that actually did something right. And
Right.
but yet you still have access to the back information logs that is being protected by by Blizzard's side.
Right.
is not being just as or if not stronger authentication is amazing to me. I'm just like, that is so incompetent. You know what? Like at that point, if you can find a way to class action, I would, because that's like that in this kind of circumstance, if you spent the amount of time, because I don't know how long it takes to get to the
dude, hundreds
it
of
takes
hours.
forever. Yeah. Like, can you imagine theoretically, let's say your friend is like a professional gamer for that sport specifically. Yeah. You're for the specifically, and you lost your account, and then they treat you that way. I'd be like, hell no. Like, I would try to get as much information on this to say, like, okay, listen, like what can we do on this, and then get to lit a fire of Activision's better, because now, since they fixed the issue, now the problem is they need to deal with the backlogs of people that got affected by it now, because of like that's been trying to do this stupid process.
Right.
And then my last point is, what kind of person would tell them, okay, we need to have video of you showing this kind of log work on that? What kind of nonsense is that? Like, who, like, don't
I believe that's your job.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just so, like, what you're basically essentially telling me is that you're needing proof of me physically playing the game that I bought to this to this extent to be like, oh, are you sure if this is my account? You're telling me there's no other way to verify that this is my account? You can't go by backlog histories. You can't go by tracing where this account is being played at, or any other way. You're telling me that you need physical video of me playing the game under my account, showing this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
That is so backwards to me. It's like it doesn't make any sense to me that Activision relied on that as a process, and it was a process of all things. It's like now you have to worry about people. Now you have a library of people that are pissed that they don't have their account, as well as a library of people showing video that it's their accounts. On top of it, you putting more work for yourself at this point. I don't know, Activision, what the hell, dude? Seriously, that is insane. On those process.
Well, Dust says, I'm confused. They don't have an option to verify your account by matching your IP to the account's play history.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a number. Yeah, that's the thing. There's a number of
so many easier ways to do that.
They picked the most ridiculous way to be able to verify an account. Again, I think this is a testament to them just being like,
they don't care.
Don't really care.
They don't want to
and that's what
hours.
It says. You're telling me they've got Reddit threads of people experiencing the same thing. This sounds like a back end issue where Blizzard and Activision never really integrated their systems, so it became essentially, you know what I mean, one system that everything kind of runs through. It sounds like there's two separate things that are happening. You have the two-factor, but then people still have the ability to get into your account and then unlink your stuff. It's like, what's the point then of the two-factor? If they can do that, you know, there's another way. That's a hole. Right. That is a hole in the system. Why is that hole not plugged? there are hundreds of people reaching out saying something. Absolutely. This should be, especially people. And I'm wondering, is this just limited to Call of Duty, or are there other games or other times where Activision, you know what I mean, that people are having issues with their customer support actually helping them?
See,
I mean, literally, that is their job.
Yeah, and here's the question that I've always kind of wondered about this, because, like, don't get me wrong, like, Activision recently moved their Call of Duty stuff to Blizzard's thing on what's it called, BlizzNet? No, not BlizzNet. Battle.net.
Battle.net.
Battle.net. Battle.net's been around forever, and it's virtually is impossible to get from the outside world to hack into it, and that's hence to do it. So I don't understand. Like, I mean, like, prior to them moving all that stuff to Battle.net, which I think was a great move on their behalf. Like, are you telling me this is what they were depending on this whole time? Like, this is like this whole process is what they were depending on this whole time? It's freaking that's maddening, man. I just don't even understand it. Like what are they, like, is there not a number? So what, there's no number? You have to do they go by email for this kind of stuff?
So
I mean,
I did throw the person that we're specifically talking about, they made a TikTok about it. I did throw that in our like little link area. If you I think you were allowed to.
Yeah, actually, is that what you sent me?
That's his TikTok that he made about like hoping to reach anybody at Activision. So basically what you have to do is you have to create a new account, like a sub account, or essentially, to then get a hold of them to say, this is my original account, someone hacked in, and essentially all they did was unlink. Because I was like, so someone hacked into your email? He was like, no, it's not like my password got changed or anything. They unlinked me, and I can still see and get into the back end, but I can't unlink them and relink my account because you can only do it once a year. So that's where the activation part comes in, right? And so hundreds of
Wait, did you say I can play this?
I think, I'm pretty sure we can play this. This isn't like, because he specifically reached out and was like, can you talk about this on the podcast? So spoiler alert, it's our friend Ducky. I've known him for years. Like, he's such a sweet human being, and he worked his butt off for over a year for this freaking account, and then it got stolen from him. Like, are you kidding? But yeah, we've reached out to, so he's created this other account. It's so funny when you see the support page and what they want you to do. It's literally like, light the ring and jump through it. Good luck.
Oh my God.
They may reach out to you in 7 to 10 business days. It's been over that at this point. So he's going to reach out again on Monday. Some people don't hear anything for months. And then when they do hear something, it's, well, your account's gone. So, you know, it's so frustrating. Like, great, now you have 2-factor, but that doesn't help the people that got their accounts sold and unlinked. Because, and I told him, I was like, you know, because I used to do business, not shady business by any means, but I worked and I did server maintenance for a lot of companies. And so when someone would try to do something like weird like that, I can trace that back. I was like, hey, why don't you send me some info, and I can find out a little bit more information, because it's clear that the person who's using it, and I was like, do you want me to like personally write this person a message in Call of Duty and be like, give it back or else? And he was like, no, just don't bother them. I want Activision to respond. Because I was like, can't you just change your password and lock this fool out? He was like, no. And so it took me a while for him to explain, like, oh, I get it. Like, it's not really,
I can't play this,
that they hacked his info. Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, that's right.
Why do we have the option to unlink? That's a great question. I don't know. And it's like, why is it an unlink thing? Why isn't it an update my information? Right?
Yeah,
that's what I would think.
Yeah, that's also so weird that they would go that route. You're totally right, because like if it's update your information, all you have to do to protect that for it to happen is, okay, we need to confirm the email address, the initial email that was created for this thing, and then boom, you're done. You're like you protected, even if you didn't do 2-factor authentication, but if you had to confirm that is your
Right.
with the email itself, then yeah, it's going to be a pain in the butt to worry about that. Oh my God, that is a long link.
I know. I'm sorry.
But still, like, yeah.
there we
So
go.
I don't know, man. Like,
The
so
whole
much
thing is
fail.
screwy.
So much fail. I hope that like what I would suggest with this is to make different parts of these of the TikToks and stuff, like, so just try to make as much fight that you can on social media. It's terrible that you have to go through all of this nonsense. And then what's worse is that they're asking for more, like, to be like, oh hey, you want to get the new Call of Duty, like. He's like, man, you put, like, I'd be like, screw y'all, Activision, at that point. If that, if
He'd already purchased
But
it.
he'd
already purchased it. That's the thing.
And he truly enjoys, and you know what I mean? This is where it hurts so much, is because it is a person that loves this game so much. I know that was the first Call of Duty he had ever played. And he put some really, really serious hours into it. He enjoys it a lot. To see somebody have to go through something like this for something that they really enjoy, and then, hey guys, I need some help, and then just cold shoulders, like, whoa. Like, the least you could do is work with me here, talk to me a little bit, and so I can figure out what's going on, man. Like, this is, it's just companies, it's terrible customer service. And again, this speaks on, to me, that speaks on the company. There's, it's all good when you're giving them the money and things are going good, but I want to see how a company, and you can always tell how a person acts or a company acts when things aren't good.
Right.
Is going to tell you exactly who you're dealing with.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, just to say that they had a database of people having the same issue and they didn't do anything about it until they finally did. It's like,
yeah. Well, if you
it's awful.
If you guys listening are interested and you happen to follow us on Twitter, I'm tagged in all of our things. You're more than welcome to retweet, follow the grapevine and retweet so we can get Activision's attention, man. Because it's pissing me off. I'll retweet tonight. If you can write, oh my God, that would be amazing. I mean, you have more pull than all of us.
Yeah, that is true. I'm not saying I'm a big deal, but
hey, Davis, he's kind of a big deal. Come on, buddy. Yeah, that's my topic. That's all I've got to say. Screw you, Activision.
We got you, Ducky. Let's this is one of those ones where it is like, this is where I wish people were louder about stuff like this. Yeah, because clearly, you know what I mean, it's not just him, it's affecting a lot of people, and you know what I mean, we should be able to demand answers and be like, yo, there needs to be some accountability on that end. Of things in your service.
Absolutely.
Right? Exactly.
Well, Ducky, I know a man named Davis, and he's kind of a big deal, so maybe he'll help you out there, buddy.
All right. So,
what about you, Davis?
I will close it off, and I'm wanting to talk about a game that I've been on the fence about for a couple of months, and it is Marvel's Avengers, it's not looking good. let's say. So
let me grab my tissue.
All right. So basically, okay. So here's the deal. We thought that Marvel Avengers has been marketed quite heavily from Square Enix. Square Enix is the people that published it and created it. Waited years. It was highly anticipated. I guess you could classify this as a AAA title for the franchise, but apparently because the game didn't do as good as they thought it was going to be. So on Thursday, on Wednesday, Square Enix on their sales call was giving out the numbers on their quarterly earnings, and due to Marvel Avengers overall low sales from the deal, Square Enix has marked a $63 million loss, and they're putting the blame on mostly, they're saying 70% of this loss is because of Marvel Avengers. So so I think it definitely deserves this. Yeah, so
vomit worthy.
Yeah, it's bad. And then if you want to like make it matters worse, which is really sad about this, is that So the big thing about these kind of games is the community. So like, like for instance, like Fallout 76 has a community. There's people still come back to these games. People still like come back to return, and then they're wanting to, to play more of it. So they also stated the return value of this game, like in this month alone for Marvel Avengers, went down to 96% of their overall research community people. So that means the drop off for people playing Marvel Avengers, they've lost virtually almost all of their community.
6% of people still play.
Yeah. So 6% of the community is really like overall out of the giant group that was sold that bought it is still there. So now why is this a big deal? The biggest problem the biggest problem that Marvel Avengers did, or actually not really a problem, but Square Enix was very, very heavily marketing Marvel Avengers. Like at the beginning of the year, they were really hardcore on pushing this game. They still do these roundtable discussions and stuff like that. Still to this day, they're still doing these videos of trying to be transparent to the community and stuff like that. They had big plans, and as you know, one of the biggest things that kind of leaked out about this game was that they were going to do microtransactional things for outfits and extra deals and stuff like that later on. Now the problem is that since 96% of the community is not playing the game anymore, it's like they something like that will gut the initial dev team. They may not have and as far as I know, they haven't officially said that they're reducing the size of people to continue on this kind of deal. So but overall that means that they don't have a drive to add more content, because since there's not going to be people to enjoy it. Right. So now when I first saw this game, I was like, I want to play it, but I don't know if it's worth $60. And then because I don't know what to expect in this game, so I decided to wait. Now since I know that this is a loss, they're going to try to cut as much time. They're going to try to cut the bleeding from this game as soon as possible at this point. And this game is going to drop down kind of like as fast as Anthem. I don't know if it'll be as disappointing as Anthem was, but it is going to be like they're definitely going to try to stop that bleeding as soon as they possibly can. So so I mean, so Smitty, I just want to get what y'all's thoughts are when you hear stuff like this, and what you're planning, what you thought, because I believe Smitty was the one that was playing that game. Sure, I see your Captain America stand.
No, but again, that's because it was I got it for free. I had no intention on buying it out the gate. I'm becoming, and the more they come out, these live service games almost guaranteed always start out terribly, and then they end up getting it to a place. I really wish, and we were talking about this beforehand, I really wish instead of focusing on a multiplayer experience, they would have taken that and taken those resources and putting it into developing a more in-depth story for the game. Enjoyed the crap out of the story. Really, really enjoyed it. I just, the multiplayer part of it is very much lacking. And there's always going to be an issue, especially with any looter shooter. Is the loot good? Is it worth the grind? Is the loop solid and playable and fun to do? Yeah. And then what's the roadmap? What's the content drop going to look like? How are things going to play out? I felt like all of that, they missed the mark on a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean? Again, the loot was, it's like, all right, I don't have that big of an issue as far as like with the loot and stuff like that. For me, is the replayability of it. One thing, you only have a couple of main villains that you're going against, right? Everything else is basically cyborgs or no name Joe. Oh, yeah. Or No Face Joe, not No Name Joe, No Face Joe. So there is no connection for me beating up these baddies because they're just your typical, you know what I mean? Like, and I have even less of a connection because half of them are robots. Right. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, all right, cool. So like the mechanics of the game are a lot of fun. There's just these little things that make Again, the biggest thing being that replayability, being able to doodle loop or the doodle loops to get this gear, doodle loops, to be able to get the gear. And it being a continuing fun experience. And then you've got to have a roadmap that you are able to stick to and make it worth people to continue grinding till the next drop. You can't just say, and again, they're like, well, we've got these characters that we're going to be coming out with. That's awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. But if you put them in the exact same scenario that everybody else has already been in, that's not fun, man. I've already done this. Now I'm just doing it with somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this was doomed to, and unfortunately, I really would like to see this game succeed, but I'm becoming a lot less hopeful, especially after throwing out those numbers. And that big of a drop off does not surprise me at all. I haven't played that game here in at least 2 or 3 weeks because I didn't even want to, like, I was working on trying to max characters just in case, they come out with something fire and I'm ready. And I just have no motivation. Too many other good games are out now.
Yep.
Why? I have no motivation to go back and try to grind it out at this point.
Well, I mean,
it's sad.
Here's the question for you real quick. I've always wondered because I really am very adamant on if I buy a game at full price at $70 I just think that they need to be a different like pay scale or like, payment scale for these kind of games because I just you're not getting a complete game. You're really not.
Right.
And then we don't know how long it's going to be for it to be a complete game. The game will only be better depending on the amount of content because that's the true reality of these looter shooter kind of games and stuff like that. So the biggest problem is that these people are like giving the public like rose colored views of like this is what we're going to do in this point of the deal of this game. But they don't tell you that if they don't get the money that they're specifically expecting, then it may or may not come, or it will be delayed, or all these different kinds of options. Because I mean, anything can go for these kind of deals. Nothing's set in stone when they do these kind of choices. So, but yet the one downside is the fact that you spent $60 on a game that you thought that was going to be complete, but you really got crap because people just end up stop playing it, because it's not good. The content that they have on it's not good, or they didn't set up a good roadmap of what they were going to be adding. So I think that's kind of one of the things that I would suggest. Like I think that they need to do because you shouldn't be paying full price for this in the first place. In my opinion, it's not done. It's not done in my point, and we don't know when it's going to happen. So like theoretically, if you're wanting to release it, then release it, but you shouldn't be expecting people to spend $60 off of an incomplete game. That drives me mad, man. What were you going to say, Lex? I'm sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Well,
go
Lex
ahead,
was
go ahead,
spitting
Lex.
though before he forgets. Go ahead.
Thank you. I might have already. I think I've already forgotten what I was going to say. Go ahead.
So doodle loops are now a part of a complete breakfast. You're welcome.
That's right.
So I think Dust said it right. I mean, he was playing the game, and because we kind of share a Steam account, essentially, like I can play whenever I want to, and so it's never pushed upon me like I'm playing this, babe. So should you? And it's like, I'll let him. I heard the game crash for him. I don't know how many times. It was ridiculous. And I am that girlfriend that comes in and it's like, hey, can you pause that? I want to ask you something real quick. And every time he paused it, it would crash. And he's so sweet and would never like tell me no. And he'd be like, what is it? and then I'd walk away and he'd be like, I'm like, oh no, I need to stop doing that because like I walk around without my glasses on all day. I don't know what he's playing. Whatever. So that alone sounded so frustrating. I was like, no, thank you. I watched the game mechanics when Smitty and Dust were playing together, and he was like stuck in an elevator shaft for a while as Tony. I was like, that's not fun. Why? What happened? Like it was a glitch. And it just seemed really glitchy. I was like, I'll give it a week. A week went by and it didn't seem to get any better. I was like, okay, well, and he's right. Dust compared it to Warframe. And Warframe is a great game now. Was it originally? Not really. And I think with games like these, it does take time. It's a pay for service, okay, which sucks. And hopefully they'll gain a new audience once they get the ball rolling and they fix things. But I'm sorry, we're in 2020. Your game shouldn't be crashing.
They're not going to
Second,
fix things. They're not going to fix things. They're,
I
they're
mean,
going to cut. They're going to cut ties on this sucker.
I mean, they the thing is they may have the contract out, so maybe they won't, maybe they will. I don't know. It looked fun. I'm a huge Marvel Avengers fanatic. I mean, Tony Stark is since I was a kid, was one of the comics that I read on. You know, and Civil War was like I mean, bated breath every week for that comic. Um I wanted to play something that felt finished and not something that wasn't. And so I kept waiting, hoping that maybe it would be, you know, by the time he was almost done and I was ready to play. And it just didn't seem like the case. And I didn't want to get my hopes up to then get disappointed. Do you know what I mean? Like 2020 has been rough enough. I don't need more disappointment. So I was like,
and I would
hold out.
I think the campaign is absolutely worth playing.
Yeah.
And that's why I said before, like, that is the part that they should have put. That's where they should have put the meat in, was in the campaign, because that left you wanting to play more of the campaign. The other grindy looter shooter part of it, completely unnecessary. It's not something that was there. And I do remember we were talking beforehand about games, these service games that really, you know, a game that did it right or eventually got it to a good point, and that's Division 2. That's, you know what I mean? Like, Division, we know, had issues the same as any other service game. But once they got that, I think it was the update 8.0 or whatever. When they got it there, when they went into, they took that jumping off spot. That's where they started for Division 2, and they have been absolutely on point with their, you know, getting content out, the replayability, this and that. You know what I mean? I think that's a good example of a live service game, you know, doing it right.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's seldom and far between on trying to find more examples, and like because like this kind of games have been around for a long time, but it's just like, but most of it's usually the same old story. It's like, oh, there's either not enough content, or there's not enough diversity, or there's a lot. I mean, there's just so many different options, so many different reasonings on why. Because I mean, those kind of games are really tough to get the ball rolling on it, because you don't have enough stuff, or because it's like the game itself is it could be very bleak, you know. It's very odd. It's like with it, but I think it's just what makes it more frustrating is that they're expecting you to pay $60 to do that gamble, you know, of a game that doesn't, that may or may not be, you know, supported or you know, or worked on, or I mean, so many different factors can happen, you know, when it comes to that. So that's where I find it's very unfair.
So, I mean, overall, Dust liked it. He thought it was a fantastic multiplayer. And I think he's right that a lot of the times these games are created by like indie devs, and it's a make or break, right? And you know, even if they break the first go round, they keep going and they keep going, because it's that or we shut our doors and we all lose our jobs. And I think for a lot of games, that's what happens, and that's what that drive is what's, and like, eventually creates a success. And I think, you know, they could have made it like Spider-Man Sony Tales, but I don't think that that's what they were going for. And I like Spider-Man, but I don't want another Spider-Man. If I'm being honest, like, if I want another Spider-Man, I'll get a Miles Morales. I don't want to play Tony as a single player. Like, I would rather play everybody than just be stuck with one I wanted a multiplayer Avengers game. Honestly, I did. I thought it would be great.
See, the multiplayer,
and I take that differently though, because I mean, you can still have the experience of bouncing around from character to character. I think he means more of just focusing on the story and developing you know what I mean? You've got a ton of content you could pull from comics. You could pull from, you know, and they wanted it something, you know, we had conversations with them as, you know, as they were making it with some of the actors and stuff like that. And they really emphasized how it was just a different story. And it's almost like a story from a different universe of the, you know, with those characters, but different events had happened and stuff like that with it.
Well, like, here's
Yeah,
the question, though.
exactly. And that's what it felt like for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, what is the multiplayer? Isn't like what you expect to multiplayer to be in that game, right? Like, isn't it different? You know what I mean? Like,
It's more, it's like co-oping. It's co-oping missions, and like essentially, like you have your hives, which are essentially kind of like your end game, your mega hives, which are like your end game raids and stuff like that. So it's like they built it out to try to be like that, but you don't have just areas that you can congregate and go see people like the tower. I'm not just randomly in a world, or I don't think that happens, where you're in a world or you're in a mission and there's areas of it that are open to the public and you see other players there and stuff like that. So like it's almost like this weird, like that's what they were trying to do, but they definitely did not do that with this. You know, and it just it comes off as weird. Like for me, again, this is how I believe what this was and what the intention of this. It is people that were trying to capitalize on the Marvel hype, and they say, you know what? There's a ton of fans here. Let's go ahead, make this, and then make it live to service, because then we can get them with microtransactions, and that's going to be even more money. What I feel like a lot of people miss the mark on, and this doesn't even go for like things like that. They take the, hey, these are super successful in the theater. That means it's going to be super successful as a video game, and then we're going to do that, and that does not translate. Same thing with esports. People are like, well, a lot of people are doing streaming and video games, but yet you see esports struggling. They're two different things. It's two separate things, and they don't know how to properly, like, I guess,
coincide with it.
Yeah, exactly. So they think because this worked here, we're gonna do this, and then they come out looking callous, putting out crap, and again, to me, it's about that money. It's about that money.
It almost
really
seems like 80-year-old men who like playing Destiny or making this game.
What?
I mean, sorry. No, Dust right though. Like the way he described it,
Don't at me.
Is kind of Destiny-ish, with like the end raids and things like that. But like, why would you take? And I understand, like, if you guys are in like movie Avengers versus what's in the comic books, like, oh, we're way ahead. Like, Tony ain't a man anymore. You know what I mean? But. And that's okay. And it didn't even seem like the way he was describing it, I was like, okay, that's a character I know because she's currently in the comic books, but she's not this age. And this isn't a story that like, you have so much to pull from. Why was
they wanted to make it their own world because they don't want to make it like their own kind of, go by any kind of beat to their drums. Well, no, because I mean they got the rights already for Disney and stuff. Because I mean, like, look at like Sony, when Sony made Spider-Man, well, not Sony, Insomniac made Spider-Man for Sony. They wanted to make their own world so they could make their own story. Because the only thing that they got out of the Spider-Man universe were the characters. That's exactly what Square wanted to do with Avengers, which is like they wanted to have their own story. Because like I think to choose MODOK as as the villain is incredible. Because like no one would have thought I would have never have thought seen the day that they would choose a character from AIM to be the main villain of a big game like that. And like and let alone the story like that they decided to make the story wasn't bad. It was a good story. It's just that they didn't have it just didn't have a lot of depth because they were focusing on the bells and whistles of replayability, which failed them. So like instead of having an even better story and do less of the multiplayer, less of the weird end game stuff, and the less of the stuff, it could have possibly have stayed on par to be a great game, a great start of a universe that they could have adapted more towards and stuff like that. So I think that's where they failed. But like especially now, like now since they got the results, the statistical results of what they did on their failure, now it's pretty much saying, okay, we're not going to do what we were planning on doing. They're going to do a giant pivot, or they'll do a little bit to make it look like they're working on it, and then like won't be surprised when they say they're done expanding on it. That's just basically what the real reality is about that. But well, yeah, unfortunately, and we'll see where it's going to go.
I hope not. I hope they make a pivot. I hope they make a pivot and say, you know what, this was too much to handle for the live service. We're going to focus on a story. We've got some new episodes, or maybe almost turning it into like an episodic thing.
I don't know
where they build off that. And I don't, again, just throwing out things, ways that I think that like that for me, like if you brought out more content story-wise, said I don't even care about the multiplayer, dude. Give me more story in this universe. Build this new story with these familiar characters. I think that has a shot better than trying to save the service aspect.
I think it's just gonna be an uphill battle with like just with the fact that they lost 96% of their player base is the biggest problem. It's like that's the one thing that really makes it really hard to make that decision. It's like, hey, do we really want to spend more time on like making new like episodic adventures on the game that's virtually empty? I mean, it's like, that's more money, so like we'll definitely see.
Also, can I just tell Dust, take your Inhumans and shove them where the sun don't shine. Stop it.
I hate Inhumans so much.
Davis, high five, buddy.
Yeah, Inhumans are terrible.
I hate the Inhumans.
It doesn't make sense.
You took me and made my hair longer, and the hair is like a No, stop it.
No, I have a whole argument on that, which I will not get to because it'll be into a really geeky conversation
another day.
in itself. Lex, what's your plans for this week?
Oh boy! So we're gonna start the new schedule 2 to 12. About 2:30 to 12 every day, Monday through Thursday, and then of course Saturday podcast. So we're gonna start grinding Blessed Unleashed during the day, and at night play our spoopy games because we all know I've turned into a horror streamer. It's fine.
You should play. There's a new game that I think you should try that you should play that I think you may that may be up your alley.
What?
Give me a minute.
Is it Visage? I don't want to play.
Oh.
It's got too many blinking lights. I'm scared.
It's Visage.
I can play it.
Yeah.
We already knew. And I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, that's totally up Lex's alley.
It's been in beta forever. I've seen full gameplays of it before this full release.
What about Observer?
I don't know.
Observer System Redux. Yeah. Visage
is that a horror game?
Well, it's a suspense game, which I think is kind of semi.
I totally have that.
Observer is pretty cool.
I do.
Visage is way too spooky. I tried it and I had to quit mid game. So there you go. That's unfortunate.
Hambino, I'll be honest. I'm so nothing scares me anymore. It's almost like a joke to see what does. Now, Song of Horror did frighten me. I liked Song of Horror. That's the first thing in a long time that's actually gotten me. Like, I had an anxiety attack one night. I was like, I have to stop. I can't. But that was more of like outside stuff, and then trying to sit down and play that, it just wasn't going to happen that night. I was like, I have to take a break, you guys. But that game, it glitched right off the bat. And like we talked about it, and for weeks I was like, I just want to play it. And so like I think I created this obsession in my mind. But that game's great because it foreshadows, but it doesn't scare you when you think it's gonna scare you. And that's what makes it scary. If that makes any sense. I loved it. But yeah, Observer, I'm gonna look into that. We're almost done with Alan Wake. I really do like Alan Wake.
That's cool.
It's not scary though.
Sorry. It's suspenseful. It's still suspenseful, So there's between suspense and then horror. That's just where it comes down to.
I love horror. Just take away the flashing lights.
Hey, Smitty, what do you have planned for the week? I know you said you're going to chill.
Not a damn thing. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to play games. I'm going to hang out. But I'm sure I'll be hanging out in people's streams. I just need to I needed like a Twitch detox.
Reset,
But yeah, I'm just going to enjoy it. I got some house things I want to do. Like I said, I'm going to be working on stream stuff and whatnot as well. So just I'm going to enjoy having some time and just chilling out, man. What about yourself, brother?
That is awesome. I am going to, so I started Spider-Man today. Had a fun time playing Spider-Man. Yeah. So I'm going to be playing some more. So once I'm playing some more of that, I'm probably going to do that on Monday and Tuesday. Usually I like to do Monday through Wednesday. Then Thursday it's a variety game. I'm not sure yet what that's going to be. And on Friday it's either hit and miss. I don't know. I might take a break on it again and then decide to sleep. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out, guys. But we'll see. Yeah, guys, this was episode number 72 of the CFG Gamecast. We went well over the time limit. We had a lot of good conversations today. So it's gonna be fun to review this. So we'll be back again next week with some more awesome topics, and we would love to discuss more with you on twitch.tv/CFG Gamecast. And thank you for being a part of the conversation. So once again, you could check us out. We release the each podcast on Mondays on any podcast service, on Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, what have you, on anything. But definitely leave like a comment, or follow us on any of those services. They go a really long way. It helps us out too. Or if you want to go check out some more content that we do, go to our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, where we do news, interviews, reviews, photos at events when they are actually being done, instead of waiting for the pandemic to clear out. But we actually still do all of that. So definitely go check us out there too. So anyways, this is Davis, Smitty, and Lex signing off. Y'all take it easy.